Like we got nothing to hoping to find this beautiful life we're living. Like we got nothing to, like we got nothing to lose.
We were just in such a deep hole that it was hard to see how we'd get out of this. 1.4 million in debt. It was hard to see a future.
We looked at the numbers in the second week of January, quite a fuck me moment. It was pretty ugly.
After the New Year's Eve night, it just all went tits up.
I didn't think they were going to make it, to be honest with you. In actual fact, I'd have put money on it.
We were 23 going, what the hell are we doing? And Dean was like taking us down this wild journey, and it was like, shit, we better buckle up because things about to get real.
There were some very dark days there for my father, and he did try and keep himself sane.
I stood here and looked down over the crowd, and my thoughts were, what a bloody monster.
I think with Rhythm and Vines, it's one of those delightful stories where, three guys in their flat in Otago decided to have a party one day, and one of them said, well, my dad's got this property in Gisborne, maybe we could ask him.
When I spoke to my father and said, hey, I've got these guys and they want to have this party up in Gisborne over the New Year's period.
It was one of my dreams for this property to have it for events and things. My son Andrew's flat in Dunedin had two friends there at the time that had a band. They would have been only age 18 or so.
One of the initial visions of the festival was to be a stage for aspiring musicians such as ourselves to play, and no one else would book us. Let's organise our own gig.
Last thing I wanted was I shouldn't say piss up, we'll get something, a great vasty party. And I said, no, but I'll fly you all up and we'll discuss. Let's do something really good.
The night before we flew, I had a little concert Wednesday night at the Captain Cook Hotel. We had an early flight, and flights were missed.
I knew that he would be a bit hard on us, but I knew that people like Hamish and Tom, that they could tough it out.
Getting to the house, and it was almost like that Dragon's Den or The Godfather, where we walked into this family meeting and we were being prepared to meet Mr. Witters and present our idea.
So the boys came up and we wrote down the objectives that we were going to be, within 5 years, place to be for New Year.
So Dean comes into the office and I think, oh yeah, what does he want? He's got this brilliant idea. And then he said, this is the place where all the girls are going to come. And I said, oh, shivers, what are they going to do here?
Aaron, do your David Attenborough.
Here we have 10 white girls in their unnatural hut as they make their way down to R&B to find a mate.
So we're probably we reckon about 24 hours behind, and we'll probably be ready by Sunday 24th, lunchtime-ish. So it's a couple of hard days, 2 12-hour days, to get the general site build ready.
It's a big stage for essentially one night. It's going to be a big ghetto blaster with projection mapping and lasers and all the mod cons. A few thousand people raging in here. They'll love it, they'll enjoy it. It'll clog up everyone's Instagram and Snapchat, all those kind of the mod cons, will get saturated with it, hopefully.
The weather at the moment, as of this morning, looks a little bit better than it was forecast. However, we have just ordered £5,000 worth of roading material to be brought in this morning, just in case.
Pretty fun little project to be slapped on a couple of days before the festival. But nah, it's going to look good when it's done. But there's always nervousness that it might not be. But I reckon we'll smash it this whole year. Been building up towards it, so it's worth putting in the extra hours now so the show looks unreal. Fingers crossed. Far out.
When I get my facts right, I would choose to let go. Politician, can you make a right decision for all of us?
To play at Rhythm and Vines, one, we'd never really heard of it, but we saw the lineup. So it's just like, we'd love to be a part of that, and so that was cool.
You can talk the talk, but will you walk the walk?
Man, amazing. It's good playing to people like that. They make you vibe out. Yeah.
Well, there was a slight come down after that first year, because after all the success and fun and enjoyment we had of running the festival, there were some financial issues that we worked through with the Witters family, which were unfavourable to Tom and I, and we were left with a bit of a sour taste in our mouth. The venue hire was kind of hiked, we lost money on the bar, and it was all new to us, but we kind of left in debt from that first event.
I think Dean would always wanted to have the control of it. When he ran the festival in that first year, his office was on the stage. That's just how it was.
Yeah, I think Dean and I have kind of zigged and zagged. We haven't necessarily worked together as a team, even in those initial years, and we didn't necessarily have a strong bond as business people, and it's a shame really, but that's, I guess, all part of the story.
We need to get the cherry picker in, and then we should have a piece of art, big boom box for everyone on the 28th, warm-up party, and then during the daytime, this will just be DJs and stuff while everyone drinks in the Vines. The only bar in the Vines in the South Pacific. It's pretty sick. It's gonna be loose.
We're on constant weather watch at the moment, looking at a bit of wet weather tonight, overnight, but we do have contingency plans in place to deal with a severe storm coming through. So we're all hoping it won't eventuate. It may just blow off to the east, but yeah, it is what it is. It's one of the few things we can't control.
Anyone with an available vehicle, four-wheel drive, can we please get down to the car park to help push vehicles? Weather. This will be the first real wet one that we've had since I've been here in 8-9 years, so it's a bit of a test. It's a bit of a test to our systems and how we operate. I'm Scottish, mate. Weather doesn't faze me.
Oh yeah, pretty excited. I just love the developments as well, the innovations each year, like the Super Top with this LED, you know, and the talent we've got on this stage as well. I mean, it used to be a lot of locals. This year it's wall-to-wall internationals. And
one of our artists hasn't got on a plane. I need to the office now. We're going to be another half an hour. Just don't walk into the office for the next 15 minutes. That'd be great. Thank you. So why hasn't he got on the flight?
So this has happened now. We're trying to get him on the next flight. It's saying that the next flight is in 24 hours, which makes him miss this show by 8 hours.
Yeah, okay, so the first part, I need to know the airport. Where is he now?
He's in Ghana.
Ghana.
quite a bit of rain overnight. It's getting a little bit slippy and the cars are losing traction. So we had a couple of cars get stuck, so we've had to kind of push them out of the way, which obviously slows down the loading in the car park. So I've got these guys here just pulling down some metal, a few more loads coming in, and it just means that we can keep the flow into the car park. So yeah, something we were hoping to avoid, but we didn't.
I believe it has done a lot for Gisborne. I believe it's certainly put us on basically nearly the world stage. Like anywhere, there's always the odd knockers, but it is a very short time and there's a lot of people that benefit commercially, and I think certainly there's more people that welcome the event than not.
One of Dean's sayings, which over those initial years was, we've got these people coming into Gisborne, are we going to turn them upside down and shake them and how we're going to maximise this opportunity, which was so new to me. I was just looking forward to having this party and learning, but he had those revenue driving skills that were something that was quite foreign to me.
Good. We'll see you soon. We're going to try to get into this one.
Certainly our first 2 years were not a financial success, and Leslie and I bailed the boys out for a couple of years, and then it started to get some traction.
Well, you've had your ups, your downs, sideways. You've had people who thought they were Superman, and no, they couldn't come in without going through that line there. Look at the line, look how far back it is.
How you guys going? First time here? Yeah, all sorts here.
Woo! Get on it, man. Hey, Treble, make some noise. We got 3 days left of partying, baby.
It's getting there. People are going to watch this video and be like, fuck, these girls have no idea what they're doing. Oh, it's working. Woo!
How many beads have you got?
10. We've got a long way. It's our happy place. Everyone at R&B is always happy. Yeah, it's no bad vibes. It's always a good time no matter what, no matter when. It's always a good vibe. And look at this. Like, you don't want to go home from R&B, ever. Nah, never. Or let it end. That's why you buy a ticket on the 5th of January, even though you just like you did last year, yeah.
General camp is at full capacity. So we need to be advising anyone that's checking in as general to go straight to rhythm now. I was in Portugal and I went to a festival there and there was this campground there and I thought to myself, I could do something like this. I emailed the event manager that was running Rhythm and Vines and I said, we should do some camping in town because I think there's a good market there just to, hold other events on the side. And at the time, she was like, oh, look, Andrew, you have a good holiday and enjoy yourself over there. I'll take control. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine.
I remember the day Andrew said to me, let's get into camping, and Tom and I were out there hustling away trying to build this bloody concert. The last thing we wanted to do was worry about the camping side of it.
I knew that there was this venue in town called Churchill Park, which was next to the Olympic pools. And I went to Churchill Park and I asked the manager there and he said, $200 a day. I was like, okay, can I lock that in for 5 days? I was like, oh, it's $1,000 and it's already got 20 toilets and 20 showers.
So Andrew saw an opportunity and with a local friend, Toby Burrows, set up the B-Dub campgrounds.
So the first year we did about 500 people, just in the one small campground, and it went really well. There was demand to move it to a bigger space, so we talked to the council and looked to expand it.
BW rules. There we go.
B-Dub suddenly went from holding 1,000, I think the second year went to 3,000, and then 8,000, 12,000, and we had 13,000 campers out there.
The lining up before we go to R&B, and these BW people are ready for some rhythm and vibes.
It soon became apparent that the camping business was more sustainable than the concert, as people set up at the beach for 5 days. They had limited overheads, and the B-Dub business was able to flourish on the back of people coming to our little concert. At one stage, the campground had sold more tickets than Rhythm and Vines itself.
Andrew and myself, we're just running every part of the business, and Andrew's really, really good at cost management, so we just ran all our costs really lean.
Tap seems to have come off here. What if we managed to fix it?
The festival at the time was only a 24-hour event, so there wasn't really much of a conflict of issue in the first few years or 4 years.
There were these two complementary but yet competing businesses, people wearing different hats around the table. It was a really, really confusing and confronting time, especially when we started to become in debt with our business decisions we'd made, over potentially overextending on artists and things. Meanwhile, the campground down the road was really succeeding.
And making you guys hook up for our BWTV cameras. Here we go. Here we go. Take it up. Take it up.
You know, I think with us being profitable and then Rhythm and Vines chasing its tail a little bit, yeah, there was definitely a lot of head-on little disputes.
We'd do all the marketing, we'd book all the bands, you know, we had a lot of the staff throughout the year, and they were able to, you know, seize an opportunity to create quite a sizable and sustainable business in our wake.
It's Ron Rowdy here, we're at BW Campgrounds and we're at the Sound Show. Check it out!
My son Andrew and Toby developed BW, the campground, and that was a raging success. People don't realise if it wasn't for their commercial success, this event would never have continued.
Big Shack is stuck in Ghana.
We're just pushing shit uphill. It ain't gonna work.
Andrew and I sat there in disbelief as we were perhaps bullied by Dean into extending the event.
Typically of me, my vision's always bigger than the depth of my pockets, and you know, it created quite a lot of difficulty for us.
Till I actually realised the extraordinary cost he spent out there and the damage he'd caused to a lot of people in the community. I started to realise that the guy was not well and he definitely needed to seek some help.
Events like these don't just happen. There is a whole shitload of people doing a truckload of work. I'm just going to give it up for Dean and Leslie Witters, who own this place, to make it all responsible.
Well, I emceed the first 5 years straight, so I've been there right from the very beginning when it was a bit wild and loose. And Dean Witters, growing up with him, he was always the guy with the crazy ideas. Like that whole water slide idea came about because he thought if you ever went down it nude, you paid nothing. And that's what drove him to build that water slide. That's how that was created.
I think with Rhythm and Vines, it had quite a wild side to it. And we encouraged that.
Stop it.
We liked the crowd when they went wild. They had a lot of freedom.
It's crazy just to think, you know, there's 10,000 people here now, so.
How far are you going to take it? How far can it go?
Well, I guess working with Dean Witters, whose property it is, we've kind of realised that anything's possible.
The festival definitely would have never have really started without Dean. He was the driving force behind it in those early years.
Theoretically, when do people officially allowed to come in here?
9.
Is that right, 9?
The big ideas were floating all the time. There was the hammocks to be put up, there was the water slide, there was the fencing to be completed, there was the bridge, there was a shitload to be done.
Dean hated portables. He wanted all the punters to be able to have flushing toilets. And the main block, which was near the main stage, was on the other side of the river. And I said to Dean, I said, how are the punters going to get to
the toilets. And that's when he said, well, I've got a bridge. And he went and got a bridge, a 40-ton bridge. Overnight, it's a massive, massive undertaking. You know, the council didn't have a clue what was going on. But by that afternoon, there was a bridge there.
And so we go to Rhythm Vines and say, oh, shit, this is where the bridge is. Okay. I'm not saying anything. If someone comes up with some innovation, I'll say, yeah, go, mate.
Forecast is great. Kids are having really good time. A lot of them gone to the beach today. Yeah, it's beautiful weather out there. It's unlike Big Shack. Man, it is hot.
Yeah, what's the go? So why hasn't he turned up?
They closed the check-in desk. They wouldn't want the actual flight.
Okay.
So it's like a huge nightmare.
Big Shack is stuck in Ghana, of all places, so he must have been there for Christmas with his family. So he's not going to make his set time tomorrow, which is taking a bit of a reshuffle at our end.
Okay, good. So we can take him by Joburg.
Yep.
So from Accra to Joburg, and
Yep.
then he gets in tomorrow night at 11. So that is an option.
Okay, can you hold it? Can you hold that flight for me? I just want to run it past them and just see if this is what they want to do as well.
He's got a 30-minute set, so it's a long way to travel from Ghana. I think he's got 5 flights to be here, but I know the crowd are looking forward to him, and it'll be great to have him at the festival.
Big Shack.
Woo! I want to hear that one song. And
It's the only song he has. We're gonna play the
Surely
same
he's
song
going to
for
start
40
with it.
minutes.
Surely we can go listen.
He has one song. Who even? How did he get? Who is he?
Hello, Josh.
Hey, look, I've got a solution here. What we can do is, because you guys are in New Zealand until the 31st, we can put Big Shack on to the next day, and he can play before gigs.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
What are you doing? That's so impressive. Wow. Wow.
I did basically, I fucked it up.
The boys here are feral. The boys here are gross. But to be honest, so are the girls, so I guess we're just as bad as each other.
A topless woman fought back when someone groped her at a music festival in New Zealand.
I don't think a female should have to change her behavior just because boys are fucking horny. So do what you want to do. You know, we shouldn't have to change what we're doing just because boys can't be trusted. It's bullshit.
You're only here for 4 nights. First night, you try to be mellow, it never works out. It never works out. You know, because you'll be home soon and then it's over.
I always had the feeling that you ain't so serious. You're not the type to love much. You're too
Midnight tomorrow night in New Zealand. Okay, fantastic. One way per person, 5,000. Yep.
I remember the day that Dean wanted to expand the event and put another 5,000 tickets on sale.
They were all being very cautious about it, saying, oh no, we need to grow slowly. And Dean was like, give me one reason why we can't.
Dean, in his rage, picked up pot plant and smashed it at our feet and said, "You'll do what I say. We need these tickets on sale ASAP."
I certainly had a sudden rush of blood to the head about developing it further, and typically of me, my vision's always bigger than the depth of my pockets, and it created quite a lot of difficulty for us.
It caused a lot of backlash where a few of the artists obviously reviewed their contract and went back to us and said, we want more money.
Who's ready for a big shot? Make some noise right
Yeah, I'm from Ghana. Bro, I had to go back to London, from London to Singapore, from Singapore to Auckland. It was mad.
Andrew and I sat there in disbelief as we were perhaps bullied by Dean into extending the event.
Dean was already chasing his tail with other investments in town. By the time he had fun without actually adding up all his costs, we'd spent $1 million on this expansion.
Rhythm and Vines was one of the businesses that was being successful, and there was cash flow there, but Dean was funneling that into his other projects.
I mean, the classic was him buying up a whole block of Gisborne to try and encourage the warehouse to move there instead of setting up on a prime site near the river and harbour. I mean, he was imagining the Rugby World Cup final being played up there as well. It was pretty, I mean, it was exciting but crazy.
27 hours flying for this, but it was worth it.
Their, family empire was crumbling, and there were creditors, and there were, family discussions going on, and here I was, a bit of a third wheel to it all.
I'm not saying I ran away from the politics that were happening out here. But I was able to start developing the campgrounds in town and not get too caught up in festival politics. It's a cruel thing sometimes.
Yeah, Andrew was great. We removed the business away from the family troubles and we put it into another accountancy firm just to kind of get that divide.
After the New Year's Eve night, it just all went tits up.
The family went into receivership.
I had to go to the bank to remortgage our house to pay for the material, pay for my men that hadn't been paid for. We all suffered horrendously.
Dean was not mentally strong enough to stay in town, and he actually decided to head over to Australia. And that was very tough because I was left here with the receiver and my mum.
We were all at a meeting with the options that we had. If you didn't take these options and didn't sign, well then you would probably get nothing. So 40 cents was better than nothing in your back pocket, which is what we did take.
It still saddens me today to the fact that, we only ended up paying people so much in the dollar. As much as Rhythm and Vines was separated from Dean's ventures, some people didn't see it that way.
Well, we were good friends. No apologies whatsoever. It would have been absolutely magnificent if the directors of Rhythm and Vines now could have come forward and said, look, you guys, here's 20 grand or 30 grand that we could help out for a final payment, but it didn't happen.
Well, I don't know. I lost 200 grand. Like I would have, So I don't know. I was deeply affected as well. So it's, I wrote that off. My mum wrote off 400,000. So, we gave up a significant amount to ensure the creditors got 42 cents in the dollar, but no one talks about that, do they? They only talk about what they got. They got their 42. I didn't get my 42 cents.
We haven't climbed out of the shit yet. I'll work until 75 to retire.
There were some very dark days there for my father, and he did try and keep himself sane, but it was the dark hole.
It's a very difficult question for me. I believe I do suffer bipolar, and I have a build-up to the event. We put in huge hours in work, and when the event's there and running, that's a very high point for me when we finally got there, and then I can go pretty quickly into a low following that.
It got to a point where it was very tough for the family, and it was very tough for him to continue.
I stood here and looked down over the crowd, and my thoughts were, what a bloody monster.
those last 18 months when he got diagnosed for leukemia, it was very, very, very sad. But I think it got to a point where he understood that there was an end, and it wasn't just an end to him passing away, but it was actually an end to not having to wake up with these mental issues.
I have always had the strong desire to be at my own funeral service and having the final say.
Thank you, Dean. You have brought us all together. You will be a legacy in all of our minds.
In many ways, my life has been a fun roller coaster ride, with its fair share of twists, turns and derailments.
And we just say, Mr. Witters, thank you so much for your contribution to our district. Should have been called Sir Dean.
I would like to be remembered for my lateral and creative thinking. Love you all, good luck and good health until we meet again.
Everyone at that festival had the time of their lives apart from the shareholders, because we got the books back that January and we were in a shitload of trouble.
They made some mistakes, they owed some money. A lot of professional people would have walked away from it.
Some people were a little bit in opposition to it, but we were like, well, how big do you want to go?
You got to go balls deep, You're either in or you're out. I remember the day. Still remember the time.
I think the music direction was a big forward step for New Zealand. We've been able to provide a platform for Kiwi artists to aspire to.
Just would you think my love, would you think my love?
Yeah, R&B is pretty important for a musician or your career. You might be playing to people that might not be your genre, you know what I mean? But if you're a good band with good music, they're going to love you. And so that's going to help launchpad everything else,
For New Zealand artists in particular, to have a summer circuit, have an opportunity to play to a domestic audience, and live music, there's nothing better. So, yeah, the international acts, they might draw a crowd, but I think what they do for our domestic artists is really important.
Rhythm and Vines have been so pivotal for us in our career, especially. Like, we were nobodies pretty much, and then to be put on a stage like that was like just crazy for us.
I think Hamish and the whole team just really know how to stay current, and I've seen that for the last 8 years. It's probably the only festival where I've seen such a cool following. Like they tend to really listen to their crowd and look what's going to be hot next year, and I really look that. We've just got the right elements for the perfect mix.
Hamish, he's definitely got an eye for talent. No, it's definitely great to have a person that's always hunting and always sniffing out the next best act.
There was times when, Hamish would come up to me with this idea, for the New Year's Eve moment, and he had programmed Shihad, who did an amazing act. And then straight after that, there was Carl Cox to come on for a 3-hour set. And then the midnight show was right smack bang in the middle of it. So you're going from hard rock to hard house. It was an experiment.
Playing odds. 3, 2, 1, 1. Oh shit. Mum would be happy with the wine.
Yeah, our parents influence us. Our moms especially.
You just wait, my shoes are going to light up when the sun goes down and I'm so excited about it. They have a charger, like they plug into the wall, it's ridiculous.
Can I see them?
What colour? I think they're going to go for a full techno vibe.
I noticed from my part of the business, booking the bands, doors were starting to close on us from the New Zealand acts, and some of these acts we'd been promoting over the years, and we'd given them their largest fees, their largest stages, and they were hiking their prices on us.
Coromandel Gold came in on the scene. They suddenly went, oh, we'll take all the New Zealand acts and put them at festival at Coromandel, slap exclusivity contracts on them so they couldn't perform anywhere else. And suddenly we were looking at having to bring in internationals.
And I think we noticed that all these people coming to Gisborne to enjoy Rhythm and Vines, but they were arriving days before, twiddling their thumbs almost, waiting for this big party to happen. Why not make the most of all the infrastructure, all the investment on site, all the punters in town? Let's invite them out early and let's get the party started.
It was a pivotal time. You know, some people were a little bit in opposition to it, but we were like, well, how big do you want to go? You know, it's like, let's go for it. That's when it took a big jump. And then suddenly this thing was growing quite exponentially.
It was scary, and we engaged a consultant who had worked on some of these larger projects. That brought with us its challenges and considerable cost involved with this consulting, and let alone the cost with expanding the event over 3 days. International acts that required certain travel and accommodation requirements.
When Paxton came on board, him and Hamish were heading up program, and they ended up overcooking the program budget by a decent amount of money.
I compare it to going shopping, and I turned up with my shopping bags, and Paxton, who I was working with, turned up with his shopping bags, and we put them all out on the table, and we soon realised we had overspent.
Yeah, so that was the downside of it. The plus side of it was we had an amazing lineup for 3 days, and that year just really put us on the map.
You know, we had Franz Ferdinand and the Kooks, Public Enemy, we had Carl Cox, one of the world's leading DJs, performing on New Year's Eve. This was a monumental lineup, and it still is.
The Guardian newspaper in the UK published that the Rhythm and Vines in Gisborne was in the top 5 destinations in the world.
There's a few of us who dedicate everything to this. You absolutely live for it. You know, like it's in our heads from sun up to sundown. You know, you put your heart and soul into it.
Everyone at that festival had the time of their lives apart from the shareholders, because we got the books back that January and we were in a shitload of trouble. You know, as a young businessman, it was a personal toll as well. I mean, I moved home, living with my parents, didn't know how my own cash flow would be coming from to survive, my career options, you know. It was a really tough time.
This business is difficult. It's not for everyone. It's very unusual for amateurs to have no connection with the business at all to come into it. Just the sheer intensity, the money involved. And you're dealing with top dogs from New York and London. You know, we're in the middle of nowhere.
We're here on the front steps of the Artist Liaison House, awaiting our headline arrival for Schoolboy Q. We got a heads up from the guys that he liked playing with the dog, and it was a bit of a touch at home for him, so we went out and got our own dog, Kojak.
What's his name again? One more time.
This is Kojak.
We went through an HR process and we found a person called Blan.
So about 5 or 6 years ago, I think I had a midlife crisis and decided to do something different. My wife's a Kiwi, so we we sold up from a life in Dublin and came out to New Zealand.
He had some very good experience working with Live Nation in the UK, and he wanted to get himself into the entertainment industry in New Zealand and expand.
I mean, he came in and was given what was potentially a two-headed monster with different festivals happening at one location, and took him a few years to get up to speed with where Rhythm and Vines was at.
Hey, don't put that on camera. They probably got too big too quickly, and they kind of lost control of the business. And in my mind, I think the kind of the model of having 10,000 plus campers not on your festival site was a pretty major hole in the kind of your standard festival model, where people stay on site. They camp, they spend money with you.
You just pay away that card and hope that it keeps it, because hope it doesn't decline. I haven't checked my bank account. I'm like,
Yeah, I had to use the Bank of Mum to buy alcohol today. It wasn't going to work otherwise. Sorry, Mum. Sorry, Mum.
We set up Rhythm and Alps in Queenstown, but that involved a huge amount of focus to get that project off the ground. Sourcing a venue, new contractors, building a team in Wanaka for the new years. And this is at the same time we're running our team in Gisborne. So resources were stretched, focus was redirected away from Gisborne, and we probably overextended trying to run 2 festivals at once.
I think Alps ended up being 5,000 tickets short of target. Rhythm and Vines was 5,000 tickets, 10,000 tickets. It's quite a fuck me moment. It was pretty ugly.
We were just in such a deep hole that it was hard to see how we'd get out of this. It was hard to see a future.
It forced our hand to take, drastic action to try and deal with the situation we got ourselves into. We sold Alps. We had 15 full-time employees when I joined the business. We're now down to 3. I think I didn't sleep for most of 2015, to be quite honest.
We were in debt so deep, and the model was so flawed that there was no future.
It cost us probably $7 million to actually put the event on.
It removed them from any sort of liability, which was something that I had to stomach.
The party's over now. There's the fallout for people charged in the wake of the New Year's Eve riot.
I'm obviously one of the major shareholders, and I don't want to sell. It's definitely created friction between us.
At the end of 2014, we had those, the issues down at BW campgrounds.
Bottles started flying, fights started occurring, and arrests were made.
It was blowing out of control a little bit. It probably went for about no more than sort of half an hour. We just had this crowd of individuals that decided to push a couple of fences down, and then they decided to push some more fences down, and once they had pushed all the fences down, they were like, okay, what else are we going to do now?
And you could say it was always going to happen. I think that the culture that had developed down at the campground was slightly unbecoming for the kind of vision we had for Rhythm and Vines. When you have 10,000 kids there drinking, something like that is going to happen.
On the back of that, then, that gave the police and the local council a very, very large stick to beat us up with.
We were gutted. It was some of our best memories, really, just from being 21 years of age right through. You know, running that for, the campgrounds there for 12 years.
BW is primo. BW is awesome!
We were still really, especially Andrew, was still really keen to keep BW going, and I didn't. I thought the only way Rhythm and Vines is going to survive is if BW doesn't exist anymore, and we can join it all together, put all the camping out here.
It brought millions in, and just, you know, I think we were just sad that that's been all taken away from us from, you know, 15, you know, ratbags.
Don't be a dickhead. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Don't be a dickhead. Come on.
I think the brand was tarnished. The authorities wouldn't let the drinking culture continue at the beach. That meant that B-Dub was no more.
And this is the Rowdy Patrol signing out.
It was soon apparent that B-Dub, having been successful on the back of Rhythm and Vines and the resources they'd been able to build over the years, were in a position to loan us the money. It came at a cost. It came with conditions around repayment. They were to be paid before other creditors. It removed them from any sort of liability, which was something that I had to stomach.
I mean, I think at that point we were, extremely desperate. We actually didn't think we really had a choice, and I think, the lenders kind of knew the position we were in. So it wasn't the most favourable terms to borrow money on, but it was what it was.
No, I don't think she'd got preferential rates. I guess the interest rate you put up on a deal arrangement is subject to someone saying yes.
Well, we did it 6 or 7 years in a row. We were bankrolling it. And it's not like we were sitting there with money wanting to lend and like sharking. It's like we don't want to do this, and we're doing this every year. And we'd say, next year you've got to find someone else. You have a whole year to find someone. They don't find someone, it comes back to us.
I think if it wasn't for us making those decisions at the time and loaning that money, we probably wouldn't be standing here today.
Everyone's got their beef, but some have got more out of it than others, so.
Rhythm and Vines 2017 going into 2018. My name is P Money. How you guys feeling?
Feeling locked up, I've been trying to set my soul free. Strip it all back, this the kind of shit you don't see. Young sis, yeah, but I'm looking for the trophy, and I've been making moves.
Conceptually and creatively, Kyle, Kieran and I came up with a new model for the festival with on-site camping, limited BYO, a new music direction, and create a sustainable and smaller festival.
And that's maybe the key to it, is maybe for the first time we probably fully understand how the business operates. It's probably a bit worrying, and it's taken the event, 13 years to figure out how to make money.
There's a reason we're back for our fourth year. We get excited. We get so excited.
And there's a reason we'll be back for our 5th year. It's just, we love this place.
Yeah, I don't really want to spend New Year's Eve anywhere else if I can. It's definitely my favorite spot, for sure.
I'll be right at the front, bro.
I can imagine.
Thank you. We started talking to Live Nation maybe a couple of years ago. Globally, they're looking to expand. They want a festival in New Zealand. If it's not us, it'll be somebody else, or it'll be something they'll create themselves. And competing with Live Nation sitting here in Gisborne, 6 hours away from a major population centre is, it's got damned if you do and damned if you don't.
The opportunity to work with a renowned international promoter such as Live Nation will provide access to talent, leading event technology, and be working at a world-class level.
They do own the artists, they do own the ticketing companies, they do own all the venues, and it's actually quite a significant threat for independent festivals for survival long term, because, if you want to hold an artist on a main stage, how do you get them without going through their channels?
It's great to be an independent festival, but they're becoming almost an extinct species around the world at the moment, as the music industry has been corporatised. So you either got to, you got to swim with them or kind of swim against them, really.
I'm against it, and I'm obviously one of the major shareholders, and I don't want to sell. You know, as much as it will give us sustainability, it will potentially reduce our creative input, and a lot of profits will be going offshore. And it might be very beneficial for particular shareholders in the company.
Thanks sustainability, and I know that there'll be a future for the festival, and I'll have a share of that. And it's taken a while to get to this point, but I think the Live Nation deal will provide some security around my personal situation and the festival going forward.
At the end of the day, it's sort of like, well, okay, maybe I won't be a major shareholder in the company anymore. But, you know, it's not about me, it's about the community, and it's about the customers all having those enjoyable experiences into the future, which is more important.
It's hard to believe it's been 15 years and it's been such a roller coaster, but we've always been pretty amicable, and everyone's got the same sort of passion for the festival and the same drive for it.
It's just like a husband and wife relationship, you know. You have your good days and your bad days, you know. I think you're hugging each other and you're high-fiving each other, and then you're not. It can be an up and down like a yo-yo. I don't think there's many businesses around that, you know, can have a perfect streak of a relationship.
They've done very well, really. And I don't think there's any other festival in New Zealand that's lasted as long. And that says it all. They wouldn't still be in the game if they hadn't improved.
I was just walking around yesterday and I was just like, man, this is just the best thing in New Zealand. There's just nothing that even comes close to it.
Yeah, this will be a good year for us financially. We're well back in the game, which is, I think, is probably the most satisfying thing, that we actually, we haven't failed, and we haven't let this magnificent brand die because we went, oh, bugger it, we couldn't be arsed.
We have created a monster out here, and it is something that I hope can continue for the next 20 years. And how much bigger can this monster actually go?
I just feel it's taken a lot of courage at times to stick with it, but what else is worth fighting for, really? We're 15 years deep, you know, how far can we go?
Go! We're done. Grab. Good work, man.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.